Well, hi, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me here in my shop for the first day with this Telefunken radio, gigantic radio. It's come out of a large or a very long console. And I've got some photographs I'm going to show you as me getting it out of the console. It's always a bit of a challenge with these big radios. There's a record player that goes with this that's still back in the cabinet. So today what I hope to do is look this guy over very carefully, identify anything that's obviously in some kind of trouble, assess the kind of repair work it might require. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be your standard change all the bad capacitors type restoration. Don't know though. My understanding is this is an operating machine. How well it operates, I'm not sure. So today another thing I would like to do is get this set up in my shop so I can operate it right here, which means attaching speakers to it, which of course the real speakers are back in the cabinet, but I have my own shop speakers, and figuring out how to power it up and then deciding if I really want to try and power this guy up. So let's start with the inspection side of things. What a big radio. Has that classic, what I would call a German look to it. Telefunken. It's got a lot of English on the front of it here, so this was no doubt made for the North American market, or maybe British, maybe in Britain too. They would buy stuff like this. Made in Western Germany. Funny, Western Germany. I guess there is no West Germany. There was no West Germany as such. I think there was an East Germany. So this would be in the western part of the original Germany. Okay, that's exciting. So you never know what is going to lead to something. That's why I spend time looking at this. Tuning, outside ring, shortwave, and log, FM automatic precise tuning. Look at this fancy looking knob. What's going on here? Not sure what that is. There's three of them actually. There's three of these. You can't grab this without depressing some of these buttons. We can see the upper AM tuning. You can see it all the way down to about here. So this must be FM. Automatic precise tuning. So the challenge with an early FM radio was that there was no automatic frequency control. There was no locking in on the station like there is in all modern FM radios. You just have to tune them relatively close and bingo. They finish the job for you. But not these old radios. These old radios require very careful tuning on FM to get really clear sound. A little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and you're into distortion and that. So perhaps that's what this is all about. This is all about somehow enabling that. Now let's see. Yeah, I can see the pointer moving. That's really good. That means we don't have any string jobs in here, thank God. These can be monsters if you have to replace a string in them. Very good. Now we got something interesting here. Inside rotary antenna. You can see it right here. AM antenna. Look at that. So another thing about these radios is, and all AM radios with this kind of loop stick type antenna, is they're very directional. And if you have a fixed antenna and you place the radio where you want to have it in your house, and it just so happens the antenna is not aimed in a beneficial way, you're out of luck. But this radio, you can aim the antenna. But it goes way, I don't think you need to go that far around. I think you kind of only have to do this. So there's numbers here. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, all the way down to some unusual symbol there. Instead of a 0. And of course what you would do is you tune in your favorite AM station and you'd write this number down somewhere. So you know when you go to tune in that guy, you got to turn this to this particular number. Nothing to do with shortwave, just the broadcast band. And this no doubt is volume. It's sticky here. It's like it's crashing into this knob and gripping it a bit. It feels loose. Something doesn't feel right about this. Feels like it's just spinning around on the shaft. Okay, well here's our first repair here. We're going to go at it. Okay, there's a screw up there. The screw is pretty loose. Okay, I think we'd find on the shaft here there's a slot. That's still not right. Something more going on here. There's some shape in here, a bit of a slot. Is this not turning? This is stuck. Wow. Am I making a mistake here? Is this not the volume control? It has to be. Because if it's not the volume control, then there is no volume control on this radio. It has to be this. Okay, I don't like doing this, but we've got to put a little force on it. Now with a big tool like this, you could have this at the end of its run and not know it, and give it a crank. I wouldn't want to do that. Wow, so that's why this has come loose. This has come loose on the volume knob because the volume knob is totally frozen. Now, this shaft probably goes through a metal sleeve, and that's probably where it's frozen. It's probably not in the control itself. We need a volume control before we can do anything. Can't very well turn this on and have the volume stuck wide open. Let's take this knob off. Not with that screwdriver. I thought it was bleeding. Red paint. Where did red paint come from? I don't know. The mysteries abound. So our perpetual sunshine here in Aurelia has disappeared. We had like 7 days of sunshine or something like that. Seven wonderful days. But today it's a rainy, gray day. Just didn't come loose, did it? Oh boy, oh boy. It's loose now. There we go. We haven't gotten anywhere. We're doing a repair. I would think just shooting some oil in there, some WD-40 in there would do the trick. But let's take a little closer look here before we end up doing something wrong. Well, there's a C. There's a well, I tend to call them C clamps. There's an E clamp sitting right there. What's it holding? So it can't be holding this. I apologize for the automatic focus being on. So when you turn the outside one, that whole plastic piece goes right up into here. This is going. Wish I just hit it with some WD-40 and let it be. What's that white material down in there? Down in here. I'm pretty sure if I take the clamp off, is it just a regular? Come on, camera. Why am I apologizing? It should just be, looks like an ordinary kind of E-clamp. Now what would happen if you pulled that off? How would that help? I'm going to assume that if you had the glass completely removed, then you could remove this clamp, the black clamp, and then this whole white disc would come off. So it's of no interest to me. I think, see, the white material is probably plastic in there, right? Let me put a wrench on it again and see if I can turn it at all. The slightest little bit of turn is really helpful. And I'm also going to fix the focus on the camera here. If you just bear with me for a moment, I have to bring up the dialog box for the camera. Control box, control dialog box. And we'll switch it off of automatic and I'll just fix it. And I'm using the wrong camera. Okay, that was good. Okay. That didn't go so well. Let's try that again. Okay, bring up the dialog box for the correct camera this time. There we are. Now we want to watch and see if I can turn that any small amount. Any small amount, okay? So you can see better when it moves. If it moves. Now, I don't know where the volume is set. It could be set right at an end. Oh my gosh. This is a very strong tool I'm using. And I got my big fist on it. Is it moving? No, I picked up the camera. I can't tell. Yes, it is moving. So you know how things get stuck, and then if you break them free, you can. Yeah, I just rubbed the red off. I can't turn it worth a hoot. Let's try it again this way. Oh yeah. My guess is, yes, WD-40 into there is what's going to loosen that rate up. Camera's arguing with me. Still can't turn it with my hand. So we just want to let the oil kind of work its way in a little bit. I could be wrong about what's making this so tough. And it is tough. Put the knob on there and lock it on enough. The knob's got enough leverage. I could probably turn it. Okay, that was exciting. Let's get back to well, I got the close-up camera in my hand. Let's make some use of it. Just going to read everything that's written on here. Tune for broad and brightness. Tune for broad and brightness. Well, it's not the kind of instruction I would put there. But there it is. Hi-Fi system. So, made in Western Germany. The different bands there. This goes up to, looks like 22 megacycles. And goes down to 2.2. So it captures all the shortwave bands on these long or broad bands that they have there. Outside ring shortwave log. FM automatic precise tuning. Outside ring FM log. I'm sorry, shortwave log. So that's moving the AM shortwave tuning. It's on this big knob at the front. There's nothing going on there. Okay, more mystery. What shortwave log? Now sometimes these have a logarithmic. They have a scale for logging. It's not logarithmic. They have a scale for logging on here. So we look for something that goes, right at the bottom there. Shortwave log. At 50 in either direction. I'm talking about this here. Well, that's kind of weird. Well, what are they trying to do there? So usually what it is with a log thing is you have a, this is a terrible arrangement here. I must not understand what they're trying to do. Because you see, it's pretty hard to, say, tune this in, maybe a station just above my finger here, let's say. And then you want to tune it in again tomorrow. Well, it's somewhere between 14 and 16, so how can you note that with more precision? So you use a log, but the log is even less precise. You know what else? It's really strange. This is below the FM dial. And the pointer, that's the AM pointer I'm pointing at now. You can see a little bit up there. It doesn't come all the way down to here. Well, isn't that a mystery? Okay, let's carry on. So we have the usual way of showing bass and treble. A little colored thing should go up there. Can I turn this? It might be resting on it here. You can see it right here. This is the color wheel. Oh, feels like the string is broken on it. What's that? That orange thing doesn't look too good either. So this little color wheel thing that should go up here and indicate the setting of the bass, not happening. I'm sure the control's still working, but the indicator is not. Let's look at the other side right away. Other side here. Same thing. The indicator wheel, I'm turning it by hand here, not moving. We'll find that. We'll find out what's up with that eventually. So a lot of these German radios, for some reason, a treble and bass control is not enough. They want buttons. They have a lot of tone buttons, soft, jazz. Well, does this mean that you can be playing, like a hymn, and push this button and it'll turn into jazz? Bass and solo. So solo, I imagine a solo singer, but maybe this is more like for listening to voice. I don't know. They just love these buttons. Oh, those Germans. What do we got here? We got it off. Let's see what happens when you push it. Okay, so with the radio sitting on my bench, there's a chance all these buttons are interfered with. Let's try another one. No, seems fine. Hidden away under there is another note. Poo tape. Stereo, mono, AM. We got all those stuck together. Stereo, mono, AM. So like I say, AM, shortwave, that makes sense. And FM. Well, what's this? So we have a button here that's labeled. It's saying it's stereo if you push this button. If it that stay down, you can push FM. Oh my gosh, no, you see, it won't stay down. I'll bet you it's FM mono. So a lot of these radios pull this stunt. They want the word stereo. The sales department is screaming to the engineering department, get the word stereo on the front panel. So they throw in a record player with a stereo cartridge. Now they feel justified to put the word stereo up here. It says stereo somewhere else, doesn't it? Didn't it? Stereo, there it is. I'm telling you, man, the marketing department was just overjoyed when they saw this. Stereo. So people think it's stereo FM, but it probably is not, and I hope not, because it's a lot more work to tune up a stereo FM radio. Well, I think I've just about beat this to death, but I know from experience that there's little hints and things that you're better off to discover them at the start. Okay, so see that? CAD. It's not an A. It's CD with a triangle in the middle. Civil defense with a triangle. And the triangle's marking a frequency you would tune to just before the nuclear bombs hit you. So they can tell you something like, duck. There's another one up here. This should be at 640, which it is. I don't know the frequency of the other one. So this is clearly made to be sold in the United States. There's probably a government requirement for this to be on the radios. And Canada did not have a similar system at all. Well, so it just leaves these very interesting buttons. Like, why are they here? Because you can't turn this control without hitting these buttons. Is that another thing the marketing department said? We need knobs that are fancier than the other guys. Can you do something? Can you put something on there? Put something on the knob, make people think they're doing something. It's got to relate to this. So FM automatic precise tuning, I think, is an early descriptive term for what we would call automatic frequency control today. AFC. So perhaps this radio has that capability in it. Yeah, stereo. Don't kid me. Okay, that's the front. There's not a lot to see there. Let's get in the back here. There's a little more to see. First, let me switch to the longer range camera and kind of take an overview of this guy. It's a big radio. Okay, so for some reason they're keeping this tube in jail, but he's allowed to peek his head out the top and look around. These are almost certainly two output tubes, ECL82. You know what? I've got the tube lineup here on the back panel, which we didn't really study. This is where lots of information could be hidden. Like, for instance, look at this. Note here, FM system licensed by Armstrong. So Armstrong is a man who developed FM radio. A big role in it. I mean, there's never a single person involved in these things, but here's a tube lineup. Let's take a look at it. ECC 85 FM tube. ECC 83. I'm not familiar with that one. EF 89, ECH 81, EF 89. EABC 80, these are all standard tubes. ECL 86, that must be the output tube. There's two of them there. Not familiar with that tube. ECL 86. Go on here. Stereo balance control. I guess I want to get the word stereo on the back of here. Phono input, stereo and monaural. Stereo, so I'm not quite sure. Well, we'll look at it later. But it's almost certainly got a stereo cartridge record player in it. FM dipole acting as AM shortwave and FM antenna. So in these radios, because people didn't want to sling wires out their backyards anymore, they got tired of that after the 1920s. By now, in the modern 1950s, nobody wanted to hang antennas. So the designers were looking for some way to get any kind of antenna action going. So they put in a fairly good FM antenna. It's not here, of course, it's in the cabinet. A fairly tuned, engineered antenna. I took a, well, you would have seen a photo of it, because I would have showed you that earlier in this video. And this is just a way of making use of that little antenna for shortwave. Well, yeah, you're not going to pick up too much of that little antenna. But that's what this is anyway. So you can say to your wife, no need to hang a wire outside, honey, if we buy this great big thing. Look, it's got this. The CSA, so this was sold in Canada because it's got a Canadian Standards Association approval on it. So even though it has the American Civil Defense, it was sold here intentionally. Loud, stereo loudspeakers. Right hand, left hand. I guess that you're facing the other way when you're looking from the front. Oh, a warning is coming. Power consumption. 100 volt amps, so about 100 watts. That's pretty hefty. Warning, this cover is provided with a safety interlock to prevent dangerous electrical shock. The dangerous electrical shock. Do not tamper or defeat this interlock in any way. Remove cover completely when servicing the enclosed tubes. And there it is. And they've riveted this one right on. It's riveted on. So you cannot get it off. No getting that off. That's a curious hole. What are they giving us a hole for? What are they giving us a hole for? They're giving us a hole so we can peek at the setting of this. This is the voltage setting, 220 or 115, so you'd see a little 115 in the hole. And that's interesting. There's 4 of these clips here. I only remember loosening off 2 of them, and somehow I got this out. And only the one is loose. Oh, mysteries. Anything on the other side? No. Okay, so that's a tour through the back. Once again, you never know what little hint, warning, or something they've got stored away there. Very questionable about whether this is a stereo. A stereo. I don't think there's enough circuitry in here for it to be a stereo FM receiver. I think it's lacking a lot of circuitry. So these are all the coils and tuning for the front end for the shortwave bands. The FM tuning takes place over in this box over here. This is all output, transformer, and other stuff. What all is in there? Quite a bit of stuff. Look at these old capacitors. Bad guys. And there's an awful lot of. What's this? Another transformer here. Tired old capacitors on it. The filter capacitor here. Is that original? Got two more of these red ones over here. What's all this? What's going on here? How come they have this nice plug? And then there were 3 more wires hooked up. I had to cut them. There's 1 here and 2 here. So what is being plugged in here exactly? So these look like 2 output transformers to me here. By left channel, right channel. Not sure what these are here. This capacitor is hooked up to this plug. So what is going on? I don't know. I have to examine the wires back in the cabinet to figure that out. Okay, looking right at the components more carefully now. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to switch to the close-up camera. We'll take a close-up look. at this guy. So now I'm looking for evidence of things that are broken, things that have overheated, melting, ugliness, things screaming out in pain. Polarity of these looks reversed. That's my cat coming down to ask me if I would let him go outside. See, the white stuff on these wires is a type of mold or mildew. It's actually eating the wires, I'm pretty sure. They particularly like certain kinds of wire. See, there's nothing on the green. Green does not have a good taste. Not to them. Yes, Peanut. Can you wait a few minutes? I don't know, was that a yes, I can wait? So those kinds of capacitors gotta go. That looks like a copper tube. In it are the wires that come up to the rotating antenna. Copper tube. Okay, looking at the capacitor here, it all looks fine. Notice the capacitor, both sides are the same size and there's only two sections. Those are important observations. Something to do when it comes. Okay. I think he's saying hurry. You want to get on close-up camera there, Peanut? What do you say? Oh, no, camera shy. I got him out of here. I don't know what he thought there. So, lots of very fragile wires in here. Last radio I did like this. I broke two of them without even knowing I'd done it, even though I was being careful. So in here we're looking for corrosion. And of course there's a little bit everywhere. Worried about anything that's green, but that looks more like green paint to me, what I'm seeing there. Okay, get in and adjust all these little adjustments. Come, they ran wires right over the top of the adjusting screw here. Just moving these wires around can change the function of the radio a little bit. It's more of that mold growing on those wires. That can't be a good sign, can it? That must indicate some humidity, I would think. Maybe not. So which goes which? Well, we have to study the manual to figure out. But it'll be one set of these is for one band, and the other set's for another band and another band. So it's probably AM and the two shortwave bands, and the FM stuff is not down here. The FM stuff is hidden away in this box. Oh, okay. Alright, I have to pay attention to him now. He's angry. I don't want an angry cat back here. Okay, Peanut, let's go. Okay. Is your cat like my cat? We feed our cats in stainless steel little cat food bowls. We put their crunchies in the stainless steel cat food bowl. As soon as the cat, this one here, as soon as Peanut can see the bottom of the bowl through the remnants of the food, then that's it. He needs more food in that bowl. Just the tiniest amount of bowl coming through the food at the bottom. Can't eat any more of this. I need more food in this bowl. And I think that's a standard thing for cats. Okay, so what is this little guy hanging out here? So what this is all about is this is a way to tighten up the slug that's inside this tube, right? There's a little slug of carbon or something carbon-like material, and you turn the screwdriver and it goes up and down. It's a little loose in here, so they stick. Basically, it's a piece of rubber band. It's really kind of what it is. Just down, kind of wedge it in between the slug and the wall of the plastic tube, and that makes it more rigid. And you kind of see this a lot. Like if you look at these ones, see, they all have this. Oh, these are waxed up. Okay, so they've done another thing. They've set these, and then to make sure they never change, they've poured wax in them, or what I imagine to be wax. Well, that presents me a problem. If I wanted to tune and adjust these, I can do these capacitors no problem, but these coils, problem. Okay, carrying on. Might as well stick right in this area here. We're pretty much done through here. So, in these radios, what they do is, it's a little hard. I'll pull back, but it'll be a little out of focus. But this whole area in here is the push button area from all the push buttons, and the push buttons come with a lot of terminals facing up. You see all those terminals in there, and it becomes an excellent place to make connections in a radio like this. So it's like a very cost-beneficial move, if you like. But the difficulty is, look at it. Yeah, I don't want to get down into all this stuff. These switches are often a problem in these radios, I find. Like all switches can be problems in these old radios. The contacts get poor. They need a fair bit of cleaning to bring them back to life. And it can be surprising sometimes how much life is missing. What is this thing? What is this? Well, I think it's a metal shield with a plastic cover on either side, maybe to lessen the chance of a short circuit. But you can drape this wire over it. It kind of defeats the whole concept, doesn't it? Don't move those wires, Jim. I just retuned the whole radio. Hopefully not. Okay. Now look at this. This is a whole field of bad capacitors. Well, we don't know for sure that these are bad. They certainly look bad. Look at that. The end of it is popped. The end of this little one here, the end cap, if I can call that, is popped open. You can see inside. I can see inside, moisture can go in there. Of course, moisture would go straight through these things at a very slow rate if you kept this in a very moist environment. All these capacitors got to go. But would they be defective enough to prevent me from trying to start up? Look at how much kind of buried down in there, two of them. Would it be enough to prevent me from trying to start this up? No. In the worst case, a capacitor like this shorts out, and then with a short circuit you can overheat and burn up resistors, or worse yet, a coil. That's a sad day in a radio like this, when a coil burns up. And there's another. Look at that one. There's another one kind of buried down in there. So, a bit of a challenge. The end looks great. The end cap on it. It looks like they use kind of a tarry material there, as opposed to this white plaster-like material that's used on a lot of these horrible capacitors. ERO, arrow capacitors. So down there is the volume control. We were having trouble turning. So that's definitely a double volume control. So that's an indication of stereo. It's two volume controls stacked together there. You have a left and a right. Okay, now we're getting all the way over to here. What's this little transformer here for? Hanover. Could it be this is for, I don't know. Yeah. Could it be this is for additional speakers if you wanted to hook them up? With stereo, there would be two of these, or this. There have to be two of these transformers. What are you here for? A couple more of those capacitors. Why are you here, little transformer? So we got this transformer. We got a bigger one down in here. More of those capacitors there. This one look mighty similar. These, so, what are they doing here? You expect one transformer per channel, so two transformers. What are these guys over here? These ones, like this is the plug to the speakers. These are smaller. These are smaller sized transformers. Well, once I get the information, and actually, the people who own this gave me a pile of information sheets on it. So maybe somewhere it's going to detail what these are. But offhand, I can't tell. But they certainly are identical. I got this big resistor here, and there it is there. Okay, it's well worth spending time getting familiar with these things before you start doing anything to them. Did I run right along the back here? I don't think I did. Just various inputs and outputs. Wow, there's a set, a set, a set. That's quite a bit. This is that antenna selector gizmo. I guess you just slide this down to here, or slide it into nowhere. Slide it to nowhere in between. You don't want to make use of it. So it looks like it's set right now. So the radio is attempting to utilize the FM antenna for the shortwave. I think, not to worry about that. Is there any secret messages here? No secret messages. So this is the power transformer, this one, this great big thing here. Fuses. Didn't I see a fuse? Yes, there's a fuse right here. Some of these sets have fuses in the high voltage. But these are really crummy, done in a crummy way. Look, it's a lousy clamp. I think it's done in a really crummy way. But I won't touch it right now. And this piece here. Now this looks like where a capacitor was mounted, a filter capacitor. Where is it? I didn't put this piece on here for no good reason. It's screwed on here. No, it's not. Is it welded on? Looks like it's welded right on. So maybe it was unused. And instead, what? Instead, that's pretty certain to be a filter capacitor there. That guy, who appears to have been jammed in after the fact. Don't know. Lots of fun making up stories about stuff. So the one tube we did miss was the magic eye tube that's sitting up in here, EM84. Wow, is that guy ever in a holder? Yeah, he's really got a grip. We've got two lights here. These are almost certainly 6-volt lights. Very good. Notice on the tuning wheel, there's this huge chunk of metal here. This is a flywheel. And this is to give the tuning a feeling, a certain kind of feeling of heaviness. Makes you feel better. The big, expensive radio should have a good feeling in the knob. like slamming the doors on a car. I'll buy it. Unlike many of these German style radios, this does not have a geared system. It has two separate tuning knobs. That's one. This is the other. What could these things be doing? They've been doing anything. Very mysterious. So when I'm tuning the FM, there's a tuning capacitor inside here that's being turned. When I tune AM and shortwave, it's this guy. No obviously bent plates or anything. This outside plate appears to be bent out a little bit, which can easily be a factory adjustment. So we don't want to play with that. Okay, we've been up and down and all over the place with this. There's nothing jumping out at me that says, Jim, you'd be crazy to try to operate this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out how to hook up some speakers to it, even though I'm confused about, I'll look at the information, confused about just where's the output coming from anyway. I got all that sorted out. I'm going to go look at the cabinet where this was going again. And yeah, good. Okay, not bad. Okay, spending some time trying to sort out the speakers. And it's my lousy diagram here. The speakers to the when facing the back, when looking in the back of that console. This is the right side. You can see a green and a blue wire coming over to feed the tweeter, which is kind of like a mid-range, and the woofer. And over here, it's a brown and a yellow. This red wire, this oddball red wire, which is coming from here. Here's the remnants of it. On this side, this is the weird thing. The red wire comes up, goes through a capacitor, and appears to connect to this speaker. So, that would be a kind of a crossover or a stop the bass from reaching the speaker. There's no capacitor on this side. No capacitor. I don't know what's up. Something's up. Don't know what's up. There's a separate feed to the tweeter and to the woofer. So there's some kind of crossover thing happening up here, I think, and that's what these capacitors would be doing. So what's that other capacitor doing on one channel? I don't know. Doesn't add up too much. Doesn't add up too much. But in any case, you should be able to find the left and right channel on these two wires. I'm going to hook up my speakers to these two wires, and the ground terminal, well, I don't know, probably just the chassis. I've got the schematic here, so I'll check that out. These wires, these are the power wires that are going to the record player, and I'm going to have to protect those wires while the unit's on my bench, or I'm going to end up getting a lift off them. Okay, next time I'm going to try to get this thing running. It's good to have all the answers while you're going forward, but that's kind of impossible for me when I'm doing this stuff. So I'm looking here at the schematic. This is the output transformers for the speakers, and I'd have to guess this is a speaker and this is a speaker, I think. I'm not actually sure, because there's another one here. Shouldn't there be 2 or 4, not 3? How do you get 3? What's 3 doing here? There's 2 drivers on each channel, not 3. So I don't know. What I was really interested in, though, was how have they done the grounding in here? How do I hook up my own speakers? And this is the output side of the output transformer, and you can see one side is gone to the chassis. The same thing up here. So it's basically between chassis and the signal side. So I've done that here. These are the chassis connections. And what's that? LMR. Left, middle, right. Is that what that means? I don't know. Let me put these down here. A little bit out of the way. That's the grounding side of the two speakers I'm going to be using. So I've hooked up to basically these two, the blue and the brown wire. The red wire, don't know what to do about that. Leaving it out of the picture for now. What are these two sockets? What are those two sockets? Stereo balance control. Stereo and monaural. Serial number. Phono input. Stereo balance control. Don't know. Remember what I said about you don't know everything while you start doing this. You're going to pick up bits of truth along the way. But at the start, no. There is no truth. Okay, so we have speakers connected. We have the wire protected. I've got a shop plug in. Now, if you're new to my videos, I power things up with an unnecessarily complicated looking thing going on over here. Starts with this. So really, this is a 2-wire white extension cord here with a white extension cord plug. There's no ground coming over here for a couple reasons. The main one is there's no ground. Yeah, that's a 3-pronged plug on the front of this box here, but no, that doesn't go anywhere. It just goes here. So what I'm trying to show you is that there's no ground that's going to be applied to this one way or the other, because this white cord is plugged into an isolation transformer. In fact, it's plugged into 2 with all the crazy things I do here. So there's no reference to earth with the AC power that's coming here. You cannot get a shock to earth from it. Now, in order to start something up like this safely, you want to restrict the amount of power coming to it. What's at risk here is the big power transformer. And if there's a short on the other side of the power transformer and you don't know about it, and you're a little lackadaisical about everything, it could be a pretty quick journey to burning this guy out. Burn that out, radio shot. So on initial startup, although I had been told that this radio does work to some degree, it's very important to try to restrict the amount of power that's going to go in here to give you time to turn the power off. That's basically what it boils down to. So I have 2 ways of doing it. I have this really nice fancy machine here, and I can dial up the output voltage that's going to come to the set. But what I prefer is some what are called dim bulbs. A dim bulb system, although it's not much of a system. So you see these 2 light bulbs up here, these 2 down here are spares. The 2 up here are screwed into sockets, and if I throw my control panel switch here, that's this switch, this is off right now. If I throw it down, power will get to here and ultimately to the radio through those light bulbs. If I throw the switch up, the light bulbs are out of the circuit and everything Niagara Falls has is coming here. Niagara Falls and 3 nuclear stations pushing on this radio. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start it up using those lights. Now, volume control issue here. Did it loosen up? Has it come loose? Wire tangle up issue here. Just detangle a few wires before I get myself in trouble. Okay, we're good. Speaker's still connected. Not with my hand. that's turning the volume. Good. We need oh, it's come loose. Well, for just the startup, I don't have to have complete control on this guy here. I just need to know it's turned down, and then I need to be able to turn it up. So we're going to turn it down. That's down. I think that's down all the way. We're going to turn it back up just a little bit. Goodness knows what's going to happen. We are ready to start here. Volume's down. We want to start with this in the off position. I guess the off button doesn't lock on this one. And we're going to apply power with the switch off and make sure nothing happens. Nothing's happening. I know that because the voltage here is reading 120. Ooh, we got lots of volts today. 120 volts. You know what? I can turn it down with this. This is up too high. 115. So we're 117 regular voltage. Only way that can happen is no power drawn by the radio through these bulbs, because if these power is going through these bulbs, the voltage supply to the radio is low. So I push the button, it should start. I'm going to cut the power off. We're going to pick AM radio. I have my volume control ready. There we go. Okay, so what happened there? Well, A, at least one of the speakers got connected correctly, because sound came out of the speaker. B, we got an immediate hum out of this radio. Now this does not have a vacuum tube rectifier in it. It has a solid state rectifier in it. So the moment you turn it on, that rectifier is producing high voltage onto this radio. Other radios, you know, it takes a long time, or it takes time for the rectifier to heat up and start doing its job. So for a little while, there's no high voltage. If there's no high voltage, you generally can't hear anything out of the speaker. But even with high voltage, with the output tubes not warmed up, we heard something come right out of the speaker. Probably didn't matter where the volume was set, because for goodness sakes, none of these tubes got operating. Volume right down. We'll try it again, and not be quite so scared this time. Just because there's noise coming out of the speaker doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Here we go. Okay, a couple more observations. The lights came on. That's surprising to me. The lights came on, they were fairly bright. They look normal. They look normal. So that's an indication that there isn't something really sucking the power down in here. Another, you know, the most direct indication of that is these lights weren't on very bright. If there was a short in here, these lights would come on really bright. I leave it on longer? What would be the benefit of that? What could possibly come out of that? So the hum and the buzz we're hearing almost certainly indicates a faulty filtering in the power supply. Take a look at this. Maybe there's something else happening here. Take a little gander at this. This capacitor. Oh, how close can you get without a short? Wow. It's just, when I looked at it with my eyes, I thought, oh my god, this is contacting the ground there. No, it's pretty darn close. That's a little bit better. Okay, no deal there. Is it possible I've hooked up the speakers incorrectly or done something like that? Yeah, of course it's possible. I don't think so. So what this says is I have to deal with the power supply hum, or I have to take steps to prove it's a failed filter capacitors. Okay, but that's it for today, because that's been a long haul just to get to this point. Okay, so we're ready to really get busy on it tomorrow. Try to knock the hum out, have the radio play, and go from there. Very good. It's a long haul today. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you tomorrow.